Welcome to another edition of Strange New Pod. I'm your Fleet Admiral and host, Julian Brown, alongside the best bridge crew this side of a giant green hand. Vice Admiral Eric is here and feeling square.
It's hip to be square.
It is hip to be square. Captain Hawk is here just hanging in his hollow grid. Sub-Command, our house, it's a hollow grid.
Yeah.
Sub-Commander Giraffe is here lurking at every angle. And Captain MC is here making her third go around on a podcast this week. I hope everybody got the theme.
Fourth, actually.
Fourth, did you do Trexperts?
I did Trexpert, yeah.
Very good.
Those were all shape jokes, by the way, for the knowledgeable people in the chat and on, the show. Welcome back, guys. How we doing?
Yeah, full house.
Yeah.
Full house.
Been a while.
It's been a while, yeah.
It's been a while.
No.
Since
No.
I could
No.
hold my head up high. Okay, that's enough.
We don't want to get copyright.
No,
I have no idea what's going on.
singing Aaron Lewis.
Woo.
Some Aaron Lewis from Stained, the band Stained, like grunge band from the 90s, kind of
2000s.
No?
Before 2000s, yeah.
Yeah,
Early
2000s.
2000s, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I was not
Anyway.
born.
Yes, you were. Oh my god. Giraffe, how was that tofu? Was it replicated?
Very
Was it I mean,
It
it's
was,
tofu, so it is replicated.
It
Oh, 'cause
was,
there's soybean.
yeah, locally made. Sorry, we're late because I was eating pad
That's
thai.
never a bad reason to be late though.
Yeah.
Yeah. This week we are back to Lower Decks. We've had a lot of podcasts this week. We did Generations, we did the book review, and now we're back on the Cerritos. What happens when Mariner volunteers to take on a wayward ensign that happens to be the granddaughter of Zeus? Why does Boymes try and make friends with Dr. T? How does he wind up with a lightning bolt up his ass? Can cubes and spheres coexist and sign a new treaty? We are going to break that all down. But first, Hawk, we need to thank our Patreon Collective members at the Ready Room level and above, please.
Yes, thanks once again to Simon Stager, Jeff Reeve, Mariah Gossett, Tallulah, Jen Stein, Tina Alexander, Joe Saporito, Noe Santos, Kang Wee, Takako Nagumo, Fernanda Nogales, SMK, Colin Davidson, Shatterhand 2049, Jesco, Michael Graham, Emily and Travis, Gildara, Maggie Light, Wayne Ritz, Scone of Arc, Sean, Jay Howard, Mahalani Uchiyama, Matt Harker, Joshua Lewis, Davey Willett, Tara Pollen, Slope 74, Rude Parakeet, Joshua Miller, Aaron W., Carl Langoli, Michael Kwan, Caitlin, Elizabeth Dean, Jim McMahon, Sedano 317, Hookah Hair, Three Fries Short, Cat Tip, Tripping the Reed Alert Over a Pineapple, Sean Manning, Asher CBF, Chris Waterman, RHCB, Martin Simpson, Norman Buckwald, David Prime Hildebrand, Taryn J. Robinson, Rod Grenier, Eric the Red, Trouble, Jamie Roberts, Honeyberry, Paul Taylor Pitt, and Brett Jones, and our newest collective member, Michelle Marie.
Hey, new collective members. Yay. Thank you. And also a massive thank you to our Badmirals, our EPs. You keep our anesthetics, not, I guess. I'm trying to come up with something clever
Less
here.
experimental.
Less experimental. Thank you, Hawk. Less experimental. Yes, our executive producers, Simon Stager, Chris Waterman, Tara Poland, and Brett Jones. Thank you. We will always pour one out for Wayne. If you're wondering why Wayne is still in our patron, he is a forever patron. His name will be in the list as long as we are a podcast. So yes, always pour one out for our dearly departed friend. News, not a lot, but next week I want to make sure I'm still right before I say it, but international takeover next week. Yes. Is that what's happening?
I suppose. I don't know.
You guys you're not
Yes.
doing Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I mean, no. No,
Okay.
I'm not. I'm on break, but I'm most
Cool.
probably here. I don't know.
MC, I think we already talked, might be the only one.
I'm still debating. I might be here. I might not.
I like how we're like such adults that we're like, I don't think I'm gonna do Thanksgiving. Oh no.
I mean, ours is already done, so
Well,
Yeah, we have Thanksgiving at the correct time.
Yep.
damn. We're just gonna go there, like right there. Okay. All right.
Or like spheres and cubes. What?
Yeah, but our spheres make good cranberry jelly, so
So does
eat
ours.
it.
Someday I'll tell you. I'll tell you the story of my first Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I would like to hear that.
Yeah.
Matt is asking you, Giraffe, if you're wearing Wicked glasses, to which the answer is yes.
Yes, I am. I mean, they existed before Wicked, but now they're Wicked glasses.
Now they're Wicked glasses. So yes, 507, there will be a pod. There'll be a live show next week of some form or other. I won't be here. I'll be with family, but these fine folks will be here. So
burn it
eat
all
some
down.
food, burn it down, roast a turkey live on the show. I don't give a fuck.
And
I
we've
won't
not
be
seen
here.
the episode, so maybe
Yeah.
it's themed. We don't know.
Did you say maybe it's steamed? It might be a steamed
Maybe
show.
it's themed.
Oh,
Themed.
themed. Sorry. I was like,
It's gonna be a
already
long
thinking.
pod.
can it not be? This is such a nothing episode.
I mean,
That's not a bad
Thanksgiving
thing.
is one of the few holidays that we actually know for sure still exists in the Federation.
That's why
Fair.
I was like, but I don't
Yeah.
know if they know when episodes are gonna be released.
No,
I don't think they
that's a good
do.
point. I copy and pasted. This isn't true. We had our 2 big bonus pods this week. We have the Warp Your Own Way being recorded soon, so look out for that. Any other news? MC, you did another Trexperts?
I did. It was the Generations.
The
one that we
Generations. I have to go back
finally
and
did,
watch
yeah.
that one. Yeah,
It was a really fun quiz. So
Yeah. nice. Anybody else have any other news?
No, it's all in January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a holiday season. Things are getting wild. So, all right. You want it to be a short show. We are moving right the fuck along. It is time for the strange new loop. Okay. Boyms is obsessed with making bridge buddies with the whole command crew. Who would you want to be your bridge buddy? And I'm not going. I saw MC's hand raised so fast. But before you raise your hand, I'm not going to keep this to just Lower Decks. Any bridge buddy from any series.
Oh, okay. That makes it a much
It makes
harder
it a little
question.
harder, right? That's why it's the strange new loop. I always throw a banger in there. And chat, let us know as well. Hey, Jesse, I just made it in time. Good to see you. Does anybody have one?
Your bridge buddy cannot be the captain, right? We agree on this, right?
I feel like probably not. Though it's debatable, I guess. Like, was Naomi Wildman like bridge buddies with Janeway? But
Well,
also
that's
wasn't
why
an
I'm
officer.
asking. Like, that's
Yeah.
why, like,
Yeah.
all right, I'll say Tom Paris
That's a great
Oh,
answer.
that's a good one.
because I,
like
know
it.
I'll have fun.
There you go.
And
I
it's
see
growth.
Growth.
Yeah.
Yep. Eric.
I would have a hard time not saying Riker or Ransom.
Yeah. Fair. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what?
Do you want to learn how to do the leg properly?
Oh yeah, I got to work on leg day.
Yeah.
Riker.
I'm working on trombones.
I'm the Riker.
Riker. Who else? Who else do
I've
we
got
have?
what I'm actually going to stick with my original answer.
Okay.
It feels right to me. It's the asexual prince himself, Phillips.
Phillips.
He's so chill. He would just be like perfect, right on the level for me.
Also,
Nice.
he had the funniest line this episode.
Yes.
Man, I still think Freeman had the funniest line this episode. I don't know.
The papa gone in the wind with your papa.
She'll be gone in the wind, right back with her pawpaw. It was so good. Hawk, how you doing?
Me, I'm still thinking about it, but I don't know. After this episode, maybe Rutherford. I don't know. Rutherford.
He's not a
He's not
bridge
bridge.
officer.
Well, he's not a
Everybody's
bridge
doing
officer, right?
lower decks.
No. Bridge
I'm not
officer.
going to do. Oh, actually, I'm going to do.
I almost picked Shax just for the fun
I
of it.
know. Yeah.
If we're
Yeah,
doing lower decks, then I want Tiana.
It's fair.
sure. I'll go Shax.
Okay.
We'll
You
eject
want to
a
be in the
warp core
bareback?
together, and we'll eject a warp core together. So
Oh,
Aw.
Yeah, you got it. You need someone to have the second hand on the key.
work on your calisthenics together. I mean,
right.
Throw some.
Do a puzzle.
Throw some clay. Throw some.
he's probably
pots.
in that book club.
Yeah.
Probably.
You guys are gonna have to. We're gonna have to debate this. No.
No, he's not in the book club. The book club, you don't do the book club with your like partner.
I thought they said it was
that's
the
a
bridge
good
book
point.
Yeah, but you don't.
Yeah, but-
the book club is for like.
That's
buddies.
I think
Yeah, that's
Shax
fair.
probably
Yeah, that's
goes to
fair.
do the slap poetry during that.
Yeah.
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 Sorry.
That's fair. No, that's fair.
I could see Shaq's trying to go and Tiana just being like, no.
Yeah.
Because
Yep.
they
No,
just
honey.
drink and then don't read books.
But
And they just
Diane!
tell like stories. Yeah.
Diane, can I please come? No, get the fuck out of here. Over in the chat, Matt Harker goes, Ransom, the commentary would be legendary. Jim McMahon, Ransom or Riker would be my choices. Maggie Light, I would have to pick Saru, even though he eventually became captain.
yeah.
It's a good answer. Yep. My bridge buddy would be Wesley. We are both incredibly geeky yet awesome, says Dave Prime. Eric the Red says, I want to say Tilly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's a teacher. That's a great choice. Gene Kang. Ooh, Deanna Troy. The two of us could eat hot fudge sundaes and gossip together.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yep. Matt Harker's going twice. That's okay. Mortegas. Learn how to fly the ship.
But that's it. Just fly.
But that's it. Just
That's
fly
what
the
she
ship.
does.
That's what she does. You guys are going to have to tell me if you consider this officer a bridge officer or not. I think he is considered a bridge officer. My answer would be Kayshawn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a bridge officer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it would be a great opportunity to learn about his culture and his language, and I would be totally on board with that. Yeah. So my answer is Kayshawn.
It's funny, like you've been so serious. I'm like, Tom Paris, because we're gonna blow our stuff and like steal a shuttle and like do crazy stuff.
Well, I also thought about Kayshawn today because he had the line, I forget the character's name, the person he says, but like, who's so-and-so when they fell down the well or something like that. And Freeman was like, oh, foul play, really? It's like,
I was so close to picking Harry Kim, but death seems to follow him everywhere.
yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I was actually close to picking Jadzia because that would just be such chaos energy.
Yeah, for sure. Good answers, folks. Good answers. Before we talk about Lower Decks tonight, we are going to go back to earlier in the week when we celebrated the 30th anniversary of Star Trek Generations. We had a great pod. One of our amazing Patreon Collective members, Dave Prime Hildebrand, was with us for that. It was a really good time. And then the Roddenberry archive, along with OTOM, released the short film 765874 Unification. And I'm going to just preface this before we go any further by saying, if you don't want the opinion that is going against, I think probably like 99% of what people are saying about this online, you might want to come back in 10 minutes. I think a lot of us are maybe a bit agreed on that. So this brings back William Shatner as James T. Kirk, Gary Lockwood as Gary Mitchell, and Robin Curtis as Savick. And from the dead, and we could talk about the ethics of that, even though they had the permission of the Nimoy estate, Leonard Nimoy as Spock. The story is basically bringing Kirk back from the dead and sending him over. Spoilers if you haven't seen it, by the way. So if you haven't seen this, come back in 5 minutes. 3, 2, 1. Bringing Kirk back from the dead and basically having a moment where he gets to see some of his like friends before he gets sent to the Kelvin universe to go be with Spock. I know, it's wild just talking about it. To go be with Spock on his deathbed. The technology used is a lot of deep fakes. It's a lot of CG. A lot of it is really beautiful. A lot of it's also really weird. We all have a lot of opinions about it, so let's get to it. MC, we'll start with you. What did you think about this, Star Trek Generations, I guess, love letter is what some people are calling it?
Thanks. I hate it. So I feel really bad because I feel like my opinions while I was watching this were really pulling down a lot of other people's opinions because I was commenting in our chat as I was watching it. And I feel like I was a lot harsher on it than everybody else. But I found this to be ultra pretentious. just so pretentious. And there were some beautiful shots in it, but the deep fakery is just so uncanny valley. Just makes me feel uncomfortable. I don't like it. I don't like that apparently we've now canonized the fact that Saavik and Spock had a kid after Star Trek 3. No, wrong. No, don't like this. And for very selfish reasons, I don't like that Kirk was with Spock on his deathbed, because in my mind, Kelvin Michael Burnham was with Spock on his deathbed, and Spock talked to her like it was his Michael. Because for me, I am, and I know I'm in the teeny tiny minority of probably like, I don't know, probably me and Giraffe, where I care
What
much.
did I do?
Where I care much more about Spock and Michael's relationship than Spock and Kirk's relationship. So I don't need Kirk to be brought back to life, or not brought back to this half life, because it's like this is why it's pretentious, because this is like Kirk's trip through the afterlife, but then he goes to the Kelvinverse so that he can usher Spock to the other side. At least this is how I'm taking it, and it's like this is just unnecessary.
I took the advice of a lot of people, and I watched Sean Ferrick from Trek Culture's video on it, and I think it's widely implied that he was brought back to life by Gary Mitchell. And that's kind of, I know it's
Funny
wild.
was the Nexus.
Or the next.
I thought it was something else.
I thought it was the Nexus too.
It was
Right.
the Nexus.
I'll
When
talk
you
about
put
what I
that
thought
on
it was.
Generation,
Either
they
that or
put the
they
Nexus.
cloned him.
Yeah,
It was William Shatner who brought him back. It was William Shatner who brought him back.
What brought him back is whatever, because it's
Hubris.
weird, but anyway.
Hubris brought him back.
Anyway.
Anyways, Eric.
Hi.
Eric.
So I thought he was brought back by cloning because they showed all the Daystrom stuff, right?
But that he wouldn't have been at Daystrom yet.
But his body was stored there, right?
Yeah, in Picard. We
In
see it.
Picard.
Oh, shit, yeah, you're right.
So
yeah,
I just
okay.
assumed that they cloned him. I don't know. They didn't really explain it. It was like MC said, it was well done. Like the technology behind it was very good. Watching the behind the scenes stuff, they talk about using prosthetics and digital prosthetics as well, which is like we all said was deep faking.
It's
the whole
deep
time.
fake. You can call it whatever the fuck
it's
you
live. It's live deep faking. So they had Sam Witwer, who was in way better shape than William Shatner was during
my God,
during
yes!
Generations. So I sat there, I was like, so they made him thinner and a little bit, fitter. I'm like, whatever. Sam Witwer does no wrong, like in my
He does
book.
no
Oh,
wrong.
no
and my-
disrespect from Sam Witwer for his
No,
involvement.
my biggest compliment I think anybody here can give him is that Sam Witwer is a fucking chameleon.
Yeah.
Like
He perfectly mimicked him, like
yeah.
all his actions, like the best acting I've seen William Shatner ever do. That being said, it just felt like, why was it called Unification? Because they brought these two people together. Like it sort of took away from
The name pissed me off too.
Yeah, so I'm just sitting there. I was like, okay, so because I didn't know what it was going to be about when I saw it. I just saw the title from when Draft sent it to us. I was like, okay, I guess I'll watch this.
It was not me. Well, not my fault.
Or who sent it? You sent it in the chat? And I was like, okay, I'll check this out.
I watched it because it was on the chat, and I think I just commented, holy holy fucking uncanny valley.
That's exactly what you
it.
texted.
And
Yeah.
that's all.
Yeah. I like the story was, if it felt very, it was supposed to be very like la-di-da, like you're like supposed to sit there like, oh, it's nice to see them together. But I just sat there, I was like, it didn't feel right to me. It felt wrong. It felt wrong to me. I thought it was beautifully done. I thought the shots were really well done. If they did it all in CG, I probably would have felt a little bit better, just to know that it was all like an animated like short.
Yeah. I could see that.
I think that would have fit better for me. If they did it in the lower deck style, I still probably would have felt better. But I think I didn't come away with it feeling like, oh, this is the ending that I wanted them to have. I sort of wanted, if they were going to retcon anything, I would have wanted Kelvin Spock to be there with, regular Spock when he died. Like I would have loved that, although it would have taken away from the movies. You know, I don't know. It didn't sit right with me. I thought it was well done. It was nice seeing people back and not in makeup, like seeing Savick back was nice.
Oh, Robin Curtis was in a lot of makeup.
Yeah, I know.
She was done dirty. She
But-
was done
There's a
dirty.
behind the scene image of her with her natural hair color, or with Savik's natural hair color, a lot less done up, and they decided to put like 100 years on her.
I feel
for
like
no
they made her
reason.
older because she's in Generations time.
Oh, it just
like
that's so
that was the
annoying.
only thing. But she looked better than the digital fake.
Well,
one.
yeah, because she was real. Yeah.
Savick should look great though because she's half
So-
Vulcan, half Romulan.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if she's not half Romulan, then she's just full Vulcan, so she should look great.
Sure, she look better. Yeah.
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 You should just have put Robin Curtis like this, no makeup.
Yeah.
How he
Yeah,
is
right.
Now.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know what else to say other than I think the technology is neat.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Who's up? Hawk.
Wow. Okay. So it could either have been Gary Mitchell or it could have been cloning. I think the problem is that they really rushed through with those edits at the beginning. There was a lot thrown at you, and that's some, a lot of it you could identify. Well, that was from Picard. There's Gary Mitchell doing his, God thing, and that might be why the story is confusing. Plus, there is absolutely no dialogue. I know that was the way it was meant, but I think it's
crazy.
That
think it
middle,
has-
the middle
it has
part
to
where
be
the
mentioned.
where the Kirks meet had was it what?
I don't know.
I
don't
just
know.
wanted them to do the Spider-Man thing and they didn't.
That would have improved this 150%.
This is why it was pretentious because of the lack of dialogue.
Yes, very much so. It's supposed to be, I guess, an expression of art. Maybe not to be taken as seriously as people think, but you want to label it as that a short art film? Okay. Let's
I have a
get into
question.
that. Yes.
They credit William Shatner. Is it just because of that monologue that they clipped from another?
no.
They said he stood in for
Yeah.
parts of it.
Did
Didn't he direct it?
No.
he didn't.
He executive
No.
produced it.
Produced it. He produced
Carlos
it.
Buenos did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I do think they used. I think they used like Shatner's face for things and
Yeah, and stand in and that, and plus,
Like they did with
is
Mark Hamill for Mando.
Shatner is credited as an executive producer on this, if you didn't
Yeah.
notice. Let's get into that AI because that's my biggest complaint about this is the AI, and not just it's not to knock it. I guess they did a good job on it, but as Draft pointed, MC pointed out, and probably Draft, I don't know, it goes into that uncanny valley, and your attention is always on the face because you are looking for all the mistakes and blemishes and that, and they're there. They haven't got it yet. There's some shots, actually look like the head was not properly sized to the actual body.
Correct.
So,
What's weird about this is that if you watch the behind the scenes stuff and they show the live deep faking, it doesn't look like they fixed they added on top of that. It looks like they just took that shot and they didn't complete the rent. It's just the live.
There's actually a moment where they're showing TOS Jim Kirk, which, by the way, I think if you want to talk about the technology, that's when it looked, I think, the best. And I think they actually did minimal
The
work
actor
on Sam
also,
Witwer.
really-
That's what I'm getting at. Sam Witwer, I think most of that was actually makeup. But when you notice when young Jim Kirk looks down into the puddle, it's Sam Witwer. It's 100% Sam Witwer. And when he looks back up, it's Shatner. Shatner Witwer. Shatwer?
Shatwer. I like that.
Whitmer. Shatner.
Also, this has a major disadvantage to them when they're doing the editing and that, because the edits for this were really quick. They're really super tight, and it's you could see they really couldn't do a lot with the camera angles, when they were trying to show Kirk among the crowd wishing him off to the Kelvinverse. By the way, that's new information for me, and that he was sent to the Kelvinverse.
Yeah.
Well, Spock dies in the Kelvinverse.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, for some reason, it did not convey that they, somehow sent him to me. Thank you for filling
I don't
me in.
think they knew. I don't think themselves remember
No.
that.
Well,
They had
the
to know
guy,
because Yor was there. Yor's the one
Yeah.
who sent him back.
the guy from
Yor,
Discovery.
the time agent. The Kelvinverse time agent.
Yeah, this is why you need two shots, and you got to stop looking at Shatner's.
Wait,
weird,
Yor is
uncanny
in the
valley
spin?
face in
Yeah,
I
order
did
to
not
get
realize
this
that was
information.
your. Oh my god.
Oh my
This
god, I'm
is
gonna
what
have
I mean.
to watch that thing. I don't wanna.
That was actually what I thought was the best thing in this.
I thought it was really cool. It was really
Yeah,
cool.
now I'm like, I need to rewatch it.
I wish he was in a not in like a like I wish he was in a time uniform or something, right? Like I wish it was different.
The whole idea is that he's a spy, though, right? Like,
that's fair.
Okay, well, this is another problem. If you're going to do a short film with no dialogue, then you really have to make sure those plot points are hit upon properly in that for the viewer in that, because they're still too distracted
Plot
looking at the
points?
AI face.
Properly.
Well, also,
Yes.
Hawk, you bring up a great point, because the people that this short was made for, I'm gonna get yelled at for this. The people that
I'm
this
not
short,
even talked yet, so go ahead. Like, we're gonna.
the people that this short was made for are people who've never seen an episode of Discovery.
Oh,
Yeah.
because they
100%.
just they haven't gotten around to it, or
Because they don't wanna watch Discovery.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway,
Oh,
Hawk, are you good? You got more?
I could.
You
go
can
on,
have more. It's okay.
Yeah, I think I seen the floor.
I can see the floor giraffe. Finally.
Okay, so Star Trek. Like, what would make me like a short film from Star Trek? First of all, I'm like your target audience. I'm gonna eat it up, whatever it is, right? But then it has to be relevant to Star Trek, where it's like something that brings something to Star Trek, to maybe like interest me as a person, like I feel I'm not a very basic fan of Star Trek, but been here for a long time. Can be artistically interesting, okay, narratively interesting, or technologically interesting. Okay, I feel it fails on most of the points. First of all, what does it fucking bring to the canon, to the story? It doesn't bring anything. Like, it's just a way for Shatner to be like telling Nimoy that I had the last word. You dead, but I'm still here and I'm young. And I'm like, it's so much hubris and it's so much self-centered. And it's basically like he already like did one of his CD with his face like so AI'd. Everybody like was like, it looks like shit.
That's so true.
You should not do that. And then he wants to always be here. He's still butthurt about the Kelvinverse where he was not there and he still wanted to be there. So he made this to have the last word, which is kind of dickish, but who am I? Again, nobody does deepfake well. It all looks like shit. The one that was the closest to be good was in The Mandalorian. And still, it was kind of wonky, right? Don't do it. Don't do it if you don't have like a giant budget. If you don't have like the best people to do that, it's gonna look like shit. So first of all, I watched that thing and I'm like, Unification. Oh my god, Unification! Yeah. And then it's
hubris
not
came into play in that title.
Oh, 1000%. And it's not about Unification. So good job, Star Trek. Good job. All right. And I'm like, did you watch your show? Did you have people like were like, maybe let's not use Unification because there are 3 episodes that speak about one thing and let's not do
And they're
that.
all really good episodes.
Yeah.
And they're all really good episodes and they all have like, Unification means something. So I'm like, okay, great. I guess fuck Unification. Then, what I didn't need this week is having like these dark, cold, beady eyes of Shatner looking through my soul and giving me fucking nightmares. It looked bad. It looked bad. And just the set design was amazing. Looked gorgeous. The Spock's room was so beautiful. It was like everything was so great. The chair that they reused from like, it's everything around it was so beautiful that if they had just kept actors in makeup, it would have been so much better. But they had to like bend backward to like, I suppose, soothe Shatner's ego to want to see himself fitter than he was when he was young, more beautiful than he was when he was young, better actor, I suppose. And you're just like, why am I watching this? And then the Nimoy thing pissed me off to no fucking extent, because I know they have the accord of the family, but they don't have Nimoy's accord. And you know it would not have been for that thing. And at one point, just let him rest. God, stop.
That's the thing, if I could interrupt you real quick. That's the thing, and I know we talked about it in our chat. Like, Nimoy had the perfect send-off in Star Trek Beyond. He did. Like, period. It was beautiful. It was exactly what the fans needed. This wasn't it. Sorry, Draft. Keep going.
And, they could have done this without showing his face.
Exactly.
Seeing the room, when we saw the room, I knew it was Spock. I knew right away it was Spock. And like the hands are so important in Star Trek. When you hold his hand in like the motion picture, when like in the Wrath of Khan, they could have done something just with a hand and like a Vulcan like thing. Let Spock alone. Let Spock alone, please.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, at one point, what does it bring to the story? And also, you know what? Like, speaking of death, like, that's the tragedy of death, is that when you die, you're gone. And you don't get to say goodbye to everybody. Everybody doesn't get to say goodbye to you. You don't get to visit. You don't get to be where you wanted your hubris to be. Like, when you die, you die. And I know that Shatner, that Kirk had a shitty death. I'm sorry about this. Totally. But I feel it also takes away the sacrifice. It takes away the story that, well, now, we don't even know Gary Mitchell, the Nexus. I mean, they really did some the Generation anniversary. So I was like, it's the Nexus, like right away. I don't get it. And I know everybody cried and so on. And I'm like, aren't you tired of like emotionally jerking yourself off to always the same thing?
I had that same thought. This is massive.
There's a chance that if this was actually William Shatner and this was actually Leonard Nimoy, and they decided, like, in a Paramount section short with a full budget, that if it was actually them and they did this, I might have cried. But how, like, and I'm sorry for, I know Kang in the chat like readily admitted he cried, and I don't want to judge anybody for loving this. Like, power to you if this was your thing, but it's just death. There's nothing here.
Yeah,
it's not a real face. There was no emotional connection.
I want to say one last thing. I'm on Facebook, and I blame all of you here for me being on Facebook because we use Facebook Messenger. So I'm on Facebook, and I've not been on Facebook for like ever, like 15 years maybe. And the thing that terrifies me when I'm on Facebook is that I see so many people reacting to AI fucking images that look like death, that look so wrong. And they're like, oh, such a cool puppy. Oh, that's such a beautiful person. And I think that a lot of people are blind to the tragedy of this deepfake and how bad they look and how inhuman they look. And when everybody's like, oh, this was so emotional. What? Their eyes were dead. They were dead. They were cold. Dead. They haunted me. And I feel that we're going into, and I'm going to be an old bitch, and I'm really sorry, but are we going into generations that are unable to recognize that it's not a human face? And that is so wrong. And that is so scary. And, I see boomers. I'm sorry, my oldest friend. I'm sorry. But like, it's mostly older people on Facebook that are unable to recognize these images and have this, critical point of view of like, there's something wrong. My mom sends me images. Look, it's a beautiful sculpture. I said, that's AI. That's not true.
Giraffe, there's actually a video of Pete Buttigieg talking about
Pete
this. Buttigieg talking about this, but he's saying that because of that not just the older people, but also the younger people that are growing up with this can't recognize it because this is what they've grown up with. It's such a like we're in the middle because we've been in the digital and the analog age, so we can tell what's fake. But the people that are too old are just like, oh, everything looks real now, and the young people are like, well, that's what we've seen our whole lives.
I will also say I fell for it the other week. There was a really fucking cute video of fishermen on a boat picking up a polar bear cub off an iceberg, and I showed Karen, and she's like, "Dude, that's AI." I'm like, "Fuck."
But I think the reaction to that short really talks also a lot of like an AI blindness, and I feel for everybody that works in the industry because if we can just deepfake actors these badly, and I'm really sorry, it's not because a lack of talent, it's a lack of money. That's why it was, and also the technology is not there yet. And people are still like, it was so emotional. And I'm like, oh my God, their face were not moving.
Face were not moving, or not moving correctly either.
Hawk, sorry, I cut you off.
There, I absolutely fell for one AI image in that it was somebody holding in their palm of their hand what they said was a baby peacock, and I was like, oh, that's so cute. And then they post more images, and I was like, wait a minute. It took me a moment to realize that I had been fooled.
I wanted to bring something up about this video that doesn't have to do with the technology, but kind of, for me, speaks to the same issue of why this didn't hit me emotionally. And that's the Roddenberry archive is beating a dead horse because this is the second video that they've come out with. Basically involving kind of this thing, because they did that whole video with Spock reacting to Kirk's death in Generations.
But that was an actor.
That's an actor.
Well, I mean, even if it is an actor, just talking about
that
it from,
one actually. That was,
well, I mean, that one was fine, but the fact that they're going back to the well. Where it's like, let's have, because Kirk and Spock are apparently the only characters that matter in Star Trek, despite it, being going on for 60 years. But let's have them react to each other's deaths. And so the fact that they're doing it, for a second time, I'm just like, I'm tired of it. I don't need this.
But you know what? Let's not give them ID. Do not touch Nichelle Nichols. Do not do that.
I'm gonna assume they don't have her permission. Yeah. I have a lot of feelings on this. And it's weird because the reactions are killing me to this, because I think people just want to feel something for a character that they loved, and that's where I have feelings for this. Like the character of Jim Kirk, big fan of. Like along with TNG, I had all of TOS on tape. Loved Jim Kirk.
I'm a TOS girl.
Yeah.
You know me.
So like, I am one of those people. Like we talked about this to the point of nauseum on Monday. I'm one of those people that was pissed, and to this day is still pissed off about how he died. I think he got the shit end of the stick. So seeing this story, the story, not everything else with it, of him returning and being with Spock for his final moments, I'm actually on board with. I like it. I like bringing Kirk back from the dead and kind of just leaving it open-ended as long as he's not dead, because there was no reason to ever kill him in the first place. But the way in which it was done is just all wrong. It's just all wrong. I said it before we started talking about our feelings on this. Eric in the chat, dude, you just said it. They could have gotten Paul Wesley. Sam Witwer is a chameleon. He looked like Shatner before they even did the deep faking stuff. They could have just used Sam Witwer. It's just, and it's the people that are like, this is the best deep fakes. Like, this is the best CG I've ever seen. This is like the finally, like, Uncanny Valley can do it. And I'm like, I know the technology's there. None of it's perfect. But if you want an example of how this could possibly work, well, go watch the latest Indiana Jones film, because at least he speaks. At least he speaks, and his face looks good, and that model can actually smile, and his eyes don't look like you're staring into the soul of the devil.
The cool thing about that Indiana Jones deepfake is that when they did The Mandalorian and someone on the internet did it better, they hired
him.
Yeah.
to be like, you know what? Teach us how to do that. And they did it for Indiana Jones.
Yeah, but also Disney has literally
Fuck
so
you money.
much
That's true, they do.
money.
Yeah. So like the fact that you're trying to do the same thing that they did with whatever, I have no idea how much money the Roddenberry archive has. I'm not going to try and guess, but it's just like,
Not Disney money. Nobody has
it
Disney
just hurts.
movie.
It just hurts because I like this story and I want a resolution to Kirk's death, and I'm happy that fans got one, and I feel a little bit relieved, but I can't, like, it scares me how people are like, I'm not going to say it that way, are just I'll get in trouble, are so blind to how bad the deep fakes is and how everybody's praising it is really scary. But I like the story. I really do, which is why this is just like, oh man, I wish I actually felt something in my heart and could have that emotional moment that Kang had, because I just didn't. It just wasn't there. I just, when they're holding hands, maybe like a moment, but then like his face twitches the wrong way. And it's like, I don't know.
It's weird because it felt to me, like after I watched it, it felt like a tech demo. That's what it felt like. It felt like, because Otoy they do digital rendering, right? So it felt like they were just doing this to show off that they're using their technology. That's what.
And the other thing, the other thing is that the other part of the title, 765874, is Yeoman Colt's serial number. They're trying to like make this idea that Yeoman Colt from The Cage is like a traveler or a time agent. Tell that story. The actress looks exactly like her.
What the? What?
Yeah, exactly. I know. That's what like the other shorts that they've been doing. I know, it's exhausting. I think everybody's gotten how we feel about this, so I think it's time to move on to Lower Decks. Listen, we didn't ask for mailbag for this. Go watch it if you haven't yet. Let us know what you think. I'm curious. Yeah, should we move on from this?
Please.
Yes.
I feel we're going to get a lot of Spurk fans being very mad at us.
I think we're going to get some hate mail for this.
No, but Spurk fans, like, you know what? Like, it's fine. Like, they can like this. Like,
Sure.
Yeah.
it's not.
Now, let's talk about Of Gods and Angles. And our order will remain the same for that. MC, Eric Hawk, followed by Giraffe and myself. Ollie, Ollie, oxen free. Ollie, Ollie. This week, Captain Freeman and Ransom are dealing with a wayward ensign who, a la Mariner, has been thrown off of multiple ships due to electrical fires, issues with her commanding officers, again, like Mariner. And she definitely sees her younger brig-loving self inside Ollie and volunteers to take her on to see if she can get to her. Thoughts on Mariner taking on, like a cub here, MC?
A baby bear.
A baby bear.
I absolutely love this because this is really Mariner going to the next step after everything she went through in the last season, because she was kind of fighting, going, becoming a Lieutenant JG and not really wanting, being afraid of success. But now that she's comfortable with her promotion and being in this position, she wants to help out other people. And I was just so happy with Ransom backing her up, calling back to Ransom believing in her. You don't see enough of this in Star Trek. Mentors taking on mentees. Like, people in Star Trek are just always like these flawless, officers. But this is one thing that we've really gotten with Lower Decks is the growing pains that come from being in a subordinate position, and Mariner wanting to pass her learning on to somebody else who she thinks is like her. But I don't know. I see a lot more Boimler in Ollie. There's like this weird mix of Boimler and Mariner and Ollie. Interesting.
Okay. I didn't think Boimler at all. It's interesting. She's got I feel like she's got more like crazy Tendi chaos energy sometimes than Boymes.
I thought
Oh, do you know what? She's got all four of them.
I thought it was
does,
more
'cause she's got
Rutherford.
Yeah. Who's up? It
Me.
is Eric.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything MC said. It was nice seeing like this. I like seeing Mariner be like, you know what, and Starfleet's always trying to keep you down, and Ollie's like, yeah. Are you sure? Are you sure you're like my superior officer? Like, I thought that was really cool. I like that they were bonding on that rebel spirit. And it was just nice to see Mariner want to make someone better, like her. She realizes that, you know, where she's gone through all of those steps, and she wants to be that person that helps someone go through it. Yeah, I can't add anything more to MC.
Yeah, fair. Hawk.
Yeah, pretty much the same. I mean, it's the continuing growth that we're waiting for with Mariner for this season, and that she's not fighting rank. But she recognizes somebody who other starships had kind of written off and sent away. 6 starships, I believe, was the count at this point for her.
6. It was 6. Yep.
Yep. So, this was an excellent opportunity for her to kind of show off, like, you know, the growth that we've been enjoying this season. Nothing too much more to add until we get to, you know, the reveal.
I think it was funny that she thought that Ollie was a little bit impressive that she could like get kicked off a Maquis ship. Like she's like,
Yeah,
oh
right,
yeah,
Yes, that's right. The hardcore.
Those are all for Maquis. Yeah. Oh man, I love it. Giraffe.
The cold open was kind of weird. There was 2 stories in the cold open, no? It was not one cold open. It was like a cold open of both A plot and B plot. Am I wrong?
Was it? I think you might be wrong.
Really?
I forget.
I wasn't confused by the cold open. It was like
I have to admit, this is the first time since we started ever receiving lower deck screeners that I didn't watch the screener. I had no time this week and watched it today with everybody else. So I'd have to go back and watch.
I watched it twice. I watched the screener and then I watched it this morning. But yeah, the cold open like threw me out a little bit. I was confused by the cold open. Yeah. Anyway, Mariner taking care of Ollie when they were all like talking about Ollie. I was like, what's going on? I was mostly confused by this episode. So I agree with everybody. It's cool for Mariner. It's like it's going through her journey, but I was also, it's motherfucking episode 6, Lower Decks. What are we doing? So yeah, that.
Yeah.
Giraffe, you're right. They start off talking about the 2 of them, and then they show Ollie doing the hovercraft, the sled thing.
Yeah, with the wharf chair.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's a lot of back and forth already in the cold open. I was like, but yeah. Okay, thank you, Eric, for fact checking. I love hearing I'm wrong. I'm right.
I don't have anything to add. This episode was, I enjoyed it, but it just was kind of, the whole thing was okay, cool. I watched the episode twice. I don't really care about Ollie that much after both times, like watching it. I care more about the fact that like Mariner has just grown a shit ton. Like I was more proud of Mariner than anything at the end of this episode. Just like she is becoming the officer that she was always meant to be. And I like that like a lot. So it was cool that she took her on. And someone said, was one of you guys about like the look that Ransom gave Ollie, like the look Ransom gave Ollie, and the fact that like Ransom definitely had Mariner's back with this when Carol was kind of like, eh. The cold open did give me my favorite line from the episode and probably my favorite line this season. I mean, and Carol goes on like, yeah, well, you know, you better take care of her. Otherwise she's going to be flying in the wind with her paw. And I was just like, damn, Carol. It was a really good line.
So I have a theory as to why you don't really care about Ollie too much, and it's not bunnies. It's episode 6 in the last season.
Yeah.
So we're not going to see anything else from this character. So it's really kind of hard to get emotionally invested in somebody who's basically a 1 episode character.
Well, right. And like a scene later.
Move, Ollie.
Yeah.
Give me Tlin.
That's the thing. That's what I was about to say, Giraffe. It's literally Ollie gets shoved in front of us, and Talin has like a minute of screen time in this episode. So it's, you know, I looked again to figure out how to turn it off, and I still can't find it. So I don't know.
I would love to see her more though in this season. Like I would love to see her under the wing of Mariner the whole time.
I mean, that could be cool.
You want my opinion?
Yes.
They're setting up. She's a Chekhov's gun. They're setting, or we're never gonna hear about her again. But it's season 5. It's the last season. It's episode 6. She's introduced because she's gonna be our muse for the finale or like the resolving of everything. I hope so, because if she's just like a one-time character just here for like that episode, that seems super weird for the last season and also the second half of the season. So I'm like, oh, they're setting up something, and I'm like, I don't really care.
If they're setting her up for the end of the season, will that make her a demi de ex machina?
Oh,
Jesus.
I'm pretty sure this is the joke they're going for. Like,
Get off my bridge.
I'm convinced it's gonna be a Deus ex machina, and they're gonna make a demi Deus. Like,
Oh my goodness.
I would love that. I would love that, to be honest.
Movie.
that would make me laugh, to be
It
honest.
would be funny. It would be
There's
funny.
no other way they introduce a full ass character, just not killing her off, by the way, because I was like, oh, she's gonna die.
Gene,
No.
you're not helping in the chat with your emoji. I'm just saying. Mariner quickly learns that Ollie is high energy. That was not meant to be a pun in the outline, but now it makes much more sense. In many more ways than one. She's the granddaughter of Zeus, and I guess that makes Apollo her father. Allah who mourns for Adonius. Yeah. And has
It's Adonais.
Adonais, thank you. You know I can't pronounce shit.
Yeah, well, I read a lot of romantic poetry.
Yeah, I know. So I thank you for that. And has a super crazy attitude, whether it's investigating the disappearance of Quadrilon or interrogating one of the spheres. What do we think about Mariner, like, doing her best with Ollie, but running into a lot of issues, all that kind of Ransom running into issues with Mariner over the course of, 4.5 seasons? MC.
It was fun because, I mean, certainly it made me think of, I'm trying to remember what episode it was, but the episode with the orbital lift, space elevator with Mariner and Ransom trying to fix the orbital lift and them butting heads. And certainly Mariner is now getting it from the other side. And it's almost like in Das Cerritos when she's yelling at her alternate self, don't give me that sarcastic Vulcan salute. Oh, now I know what that's like. So Mariner it seems like this is a theme this season, part of Mariner growing up, where she's experiencing things from her superiors from the other side now. And this is good for her. This is a learning experience that she needs before she eventually ends up in whatever position that she ends up being, which is, I think Mariner is going to be a captain. So
You could say that she experienced beige. From episode 4? No? Anybody?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Eric.
I do enjoy that Mariner's getting this like a whole pot meet the kettle, right, thing going on, because of all the things that. How do I add on to MC? Honestly, it's all. I agree with everything. Like, I love that she's feeling everything that she's been dealing out, and she's seeing the other side of the other side. So I can only imagine how frustrating it is for her to be like, oh fuck, I must have been a pain in the ass to everyone. And you can see it on her. Like it's great. Like I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah. Hawk. Did you hear me? You're also muted. Do you want to hear the question again?
Yes, because I already forgot. Like, you put me in the end, you're gonna have to read that. Say that. You're gonna have to tell again the question 3 times. Like, forget. ADHD.
I get you. Hawk, I was talking about how, Mariner realizes quickly that like Ollie is high energy, and you know, whether it's like, you know, in the room looking for Quadrilon or, you know, the interrogation. Like, what do you think about Mariner doing her best with Ollie, but running into issues kind of like a la Ransom did with her for like 4.5 seasons?
Pretty much just exactly what we've been talking about. It's Mariner with, you know, the shoe is on the other foot now. She has to, you know, mentor the crazy one who is just like on her own playing field right now in that, and we're not really sure why. You know, you know, at this point she's involved in, you know, all these mishaps. There's misfires. We kind of get it quickly on. You know, once you kind of clue in, like, you know who she is and everything. You know, who her dad was. What they call them, the psychokinetic beings.
Yeah.
Strange energies.
Strange energies. Greek gods. They were Greek gods, you know.
But there's something off about it, you know. In the interrogation, she just goes to 100, you know, when she's supposed to be around 10, 11. What else was I going to say? The disappearance of Quadrilon. Yeah, Mariner's like you know, the shoes on the other foot, but she still, you know, she still shows out because, like, you know, she was the only one who noticed that the view screen was gone.
Yeah. Yep. True. Dref.
I know she's supposed to be Mariner. Like, she's supposed to be a mirror to Mariner to see how people had to deal with her, but she's a very different character than Mariner. Like, Mariner, from the beginning, we knew there was a backstory. Like, she's Starfleet through and through by her parents. You know, there's like, I was like, it's kind of a quirky character, like character of the week. Like, it's very TOS stuff. Like, oh, she has power and she's the granddaughter of Zeus, and I'm here for it. But like, I know it was a lot of power of Mariner, but I didn't feel Mariner in her. Like, I felt more
Not
like
one bit.
I felt like more the entitled kid that is like, I'm gonna break shit because my parents are rich, like, kinda, you know? So I didn't have like, I right away had an emotional connection to Mariner, like right away. I was like, I want to know what she's up, what's her deal, and why she's like this. Oh yeah, I was like, I don't know, like, she's entitled. She came through as very entitled to me, and the whole thing where she was like, just like, Mariner, when she was disobeying, was always disobeying because for a good reason, a reason I understood. You know, I was like, I know why. She thinks Starfleet is not gonna save her mom, so she's gonna steal a ship. Fair, I get that. Ollie, I'm like, I don't get it. I mean, I get it, but I don't care for it. So like, I'm just like, somebody need to like kick you once. Well,
Yeah.
Do you know who Ollie reminded me of? Ensign Fletcher from the episode Terminal Provocations. You know, that friend of Boimler and Mariners who like kept on
The one
screwing up.
who, and then got transferred to the Titan and then like fired. And he got sent to Starbase 80.
Yeah.
Why didn't we see Fletcher on Starbase 80?
I thought he was. Did he get transferred to Starbase 80?
Yeah, after he got transferred to the Titan, Riker sent him to Starbase 80.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, go ahead.
they did seem to have like that. They kept on messing up, but that sense of entitlement going on about, you know, their screw ups. And one thing I have to wonder about Ollie is if all of her problems came from the fact that she was this demigod with these shit powers. Why doesn't she just explain that to Starfleet? Because Starfleet, as you know, shit as it can be sometimes, does make exceptions for different species. So you would think that they would, you know, I mean, I don't want to say treat it as a disability, but treat it as a disability.
Or not as an augment.
I mean, I just think, again, I'm not sure this is all like thought through. Like, I think it's a Chekhov's gun again.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. And Ollie, like, again, I didn't really get attached. I love the character design. I thought the character design was gorgeous and like it was really interesting. But like the whole like screaming all the time, I was like, and
It's
also
too extra.
and also I feel like I know it's supposed to be Mariner like having to deal with herself, but I feel this is too late. Mariner is like way grown for that. Like again, she had to deal with, you know, everything that happened in season 4. She had to deal with being sent to Starbase 80. She had to deal with a lot of things. And I know that this season is like every episode we go back and look at one thing that happened to Mariner, right? Like her relationship with Jennifer, Starbase 80. And now it's the unruly her, right? The crazy ensign her. But I don't feel that Mariner was ever these nonsensical. I don't feel so. And
I agree.
Also, after all that happened, and also her meeting with Uhura, like, you know, the Strange New World episode, like the way she acts with Uhura, the way she acts with Boimler in that episode, there's a lot of depth in Mariner. Even when she's crazy, even when she's unruly, right? That I didn't feel in Oli so much, even if she's like supposed to be a mirror of Mariner. So I'm just like, oh, okay. Like, I see what you're doing, you know? But I don't feel really emotionally involved in it.
Yeah.
I'm here for the laws.
In the chat, Takako says Ali equals Una, to which I don't agree with in the slightest.
How
Like
Una?
number one.
Una from Strange New World?
Yeah, which I say, like, and I just read Asylum too, so like, they are the opposite, like polar opposites.
Like, in what ways? I want more
Yeah,
Maybe and they mean gifted.
Maybe, but like maybe because
like
they have powers.
Because they're
Una-
hiding their powers?
Yeah, they're hiding the powers and that. Yeah.
But like, honestly, I think part of the reason I also didn't connect with Ollie and was maybe actually a little bit annoyed with the character, she was giving me Peanut Hamper vibes a little bit
So
as
much!
well, and I just like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it, and I was just like, I want this to be a great story for Mariner, which it is because it's like showing her grow so much. But I'm like, can we get to back to the B plot with Boimler being an idiot, because I didn't like that much either, but at least it made me laugh. Like I don't know, this just didn't do it for me. After finding out that Ollie hid evidence, so no one thought everything was her fault, she also discloses to Mariner that she has the same powers as Apollo and Zeus and everybody. So this, I guess, gives her, a shot at redemption. She uses the powers to stop the fighting between the squares and the spheres. She absorbs too much energy. We then see one of those go up Boimler's ass, which is an amazing moment in this episode. So despite like Mariner trying her best to do everything, like Freeman is still pissed that like Ollie and Mariner fucked things up. But Ollie says that she can engineer her way out, because one thing we haven't talked about Ollie is that she hints at this. She's actually a really good engineer, right? Like she should be in the engineering division, but she's pissed off too many people to be given like the real chance. Shaq starts carrying them out, but Billups sticks up for her. Billups is like, no, like this could actually work. Like, and I actually really did like that moment. Like let's try it. And then she backs her up and saves the day with angled trickery. What is this angled trickery? Thoughts on the climax? The climax, Ollie then getting to stay on the ship in the engineering department and getting sent to Mariner's favorite place, the brig. MC.
So just with everybody, talking about Ollie, I do agree with almost everything people have said about Ollie annoying them. But I do have to say, kind of want to cosplay as Ollie, because they did design her as being very curvaceous, which I like.
A lot of people were happy about that. I love that.
And I think like the bioluminescence Laurel would be really fun to make. Anyways, so back onto the climax. Yeah, it was a bit of a shrug. I think my favorite bit of this is, and I'm choosing to believe that it was the animators being really big dorks, because I know the animators and I know they're really big dorks. But when Ollie absorbs too much of the energy, she gives off basically the Phoenix Raptor from X-Men.
Yeah.
And that was my favorite bit. And I do kind of like the very, very end where she ends up in the brig, not for anything to do with her, but for Mariner's part. I like that Mariner stays with her because Mariner is just insistent on mentoring her, even through being in the brig, and it's nice.
Yeah. Yep. Eric?
I like Ollie, to be honest. I think she's funny. She doesn't give me as much peanut hamper vibes as you guys are getting, but her finding out that Mariner finding out that she has powers sort of made me think of her more like the mutants in the X-Men universe, because she'd be hiding her powers all the time, and shit happens, like Jubilee, right? She would hide her powers, and then fireworks would just fucking go off whenever. So there's sort of like a parallel there. So it's funny that MC said the whole Phoenix thing, because that fits really well. I love the first time we see a lightning bolt and it's flaccid. Yeah. That killed me. I laughed so hard. And then, yeah, the ending is wonderful. I like that Mariner is just like so gung ho at mentoring this person that she would just sit there and annoy the shit out of her in the brig, who she really likes the brig anyway. So,
And I love that it's still the same exact cell with the little drawing that Mariner made of her and like her,
the little castle.
Yep. Hawk.
Okay, so the climax is basically, I think, where the episode kind of gets saved for me, because the information gets revealed that she kind of screwed up. She went into that room and she wasn't responsible for killing Quadrilon, as they think. But that somehow she screwed up, and she was just trying to hide it. And because she gotten kicked off so many ships, and yes, the lightning bolt was being flaccid was really funny. Also, I just want to call it that there are all through the episode with the cubes and the spheres, and that they were doing a bit of a play on that old TNG episode Lonely Among Us, and that when the Antikins and the Salar were on the ship and they wanted to join the Federation, but they hated each other so much that they were trying to kill each other.
And weren't one of them like not that many years removed, like still eating them?
Yes.
Yeah.
They did. I can't remember. The Antikins fed on the Salars, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
It's so many episodes in Star Trek that have the exact same plot. I don't even know which one you're talking about.
It's really old.
Is it
really early. Yeah, this one.
Is it this one?
But that's the brilliance of Lower Decks. I mean, it does kind of play, it does play you for a bit of a loop, when it distracts you from one thing and then reveals something else. I did like the ending, and that with the whole, them going to war, taking their forms outside. Oh my God, they're forming something. Oh, they're really unimaginative.
They're not that imaginative. Ransom had like a great episode this week. Like this
He really
is
did.
a good week for Jack Ransom. Yeah.
And like I said, Billups had the best line of the week, and that with Mariner and her really bad metaphor. We shit the bed. Now we just want to change the sheets. Ew, it's a metaphor. Yeah, a really terrible one. Yeah. So yeah, the climax did save the episode for me.
Nice.
And especially, we won't get into that yet, but yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
Drev.
I love the fact that she has like the little like thunderbolt, because that's really in ancient Greece, like ancient Rome, they actually represent like the god holding like this little like thunderbolt, and I found that very cute. They actually are a practical thing, like an actual thing that you can hold. But yeah, her saving the day, like, oh, we didn't see that coming at all. At all. Like, as soon as I understood that they were feeding energy, I was like, oh, I know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, okay. I just don't understand how you can make a giant cube with a lot of little cubes, but how do you make a giant sphere out of a lot of little spheres?
Like Play-Doh?
You're asking the wrong person. Yeah, with like Play-Doh.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
I
they
guess.
merge?
Yeah, they merge, and they're made up of energy, so
I thought they would like stack together, and I was confused. But okay, yeah, I wanted to add something, although I kind of feel thrown off by the fact that Mariner is so out of the gang. we don't see her with the rest of the gang so much. I mean, she talks to Tillen. Tillen has been the glue. And like she's been going from like people to people. She went to Rutherford when nobody was going to Rutherford, checking on him when nobody was checking on him. Then now she's checking on Mariner, and nobody else is checking on Mariner. And Mariner is just on the in the brig with Holly. And I'm like, what's going on? Is it the Beatles? Are they separating? What is going on?
A little bit.
I mean, Giraffe, I mean, you could go deeper there and say maybe that's what the season is showing, that like she's going to finally forge her own path, you know? It's definitely been hinting at that, I feel like.
And then in 20 years, we're going to have a deep fake of Tawny Newsome coming back to hold the hand of Rutherford while he's dying. Boimler, sorry.
Are you fucking kidding
The
me?
hand of Boimler while he's dying in the Kelvin verse. Tawny, call me.
Tawny, just approve it now. We'll write, produce, and direct it for you.
There's not
okay?
one word in it. We don't
Nope,
need to
no
write any
dialogue.
dialogue.
You know, everybody talked so much about that stupid damn short for how long we talked about it. I forgot to mention that the lack of dialogue pissed me the fuck off. I'm like, you do all of this and you don't have one goddamn line of dialogue?
I'm sorry I brought it back.
You made the blood pressure just rose.
Yeah.
The climax was cute. I liked it. I liked that everybody, even though I don't like the character, I like that everybody stood up for her when it was appropriate to stand up for her. I really liked that. Whether it was Billups, whether it was Mariner, and then Mariner again in the brig. I like that it's solved with engineering, and I like that this, for 5 seasons now, the Cerritos has been truly that ship of, just like Starbase 80 is the station of second chances, the Cerritos is the ship of second chances. And Ollie gets her eighth chance here. And, you know, maybe we will see her next week, and maybe she'll probably be in engineering gold. And I could not like the character, but still think that that's pretty damn cool. And I like that quite a bit. So it was a nice climax for me. I agree with Hawk. It kind of saved the episode. Let's talk about Fucko. I have this all in one blurb because we could talk about this all in one blurb. Everyone apparently knows that Boim stole Bearded Boim's pad.
He's not subtle.
Because of the bevel.
The bevels
bevel,
are bigger.
Right? It's also red. Oh, yeah. And this time he tries to get Ta'ana to be his bridge buddy and join the damn book club because Bearded Boims is like friends with Dr. T. It goes horribly wrong. Horribly wrong. Tendi literally asks, which I asked too, what's wrong with Boimler? And I'm like, yeah, what is wrong with Boimler? Like, enough of this already. And the dude just goes through hell, like a hell of a time. He does the equivalent of sticking a horse trank in his ass by falling on top of the untested anesthetics.
He flipped onto it. He flipped.
Yeah, flipped onto it. Good point. Ta'ana literally commits crime in sickbay by like almost killing him. And by the end of the episode, he has to have a fucking lightning bolt surgically removed by from his ass, which Ta'ana's like, thanks, man. Like, this is going to maybe get like something named after me in a book. But the whole stupid thing ends up working. It ends up working. He gets the nickname Fucko. He gets invited to the damn book club, leading both Rutherford and Boims to walk away with the wrong fucking lesson.
It's not the wrong lesson.
No? To be yourself?
The wrong lesson. Never be yourself.
That's you do tell me this sometimes. That's true.
Yeah.
Hey, look who's talking.
Much to the chagrin of Tendi. Thoughts on the B plot of this episode, MC?
Oh, wow. There's so much here. I thought this was a regression for Boimler. He's had some really strong episodes where he's been, being a very competent officer, and it felt like he was really like, I'm going to be really good at doing my job, and just kind of going back to bold Boimler, but like a more responsible version of bold Boimler. And this was Boimler being the kiss ass, and they brought up the whole Hawaii thing was that season
2?
1, 2?
Two.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it was a while ago at this point, and just no lessons from that. Yeah, there was funny stuff in here. I mean, I always love stuff with Dr. Tana. I was wondering what Boimler actually said to her to really set her off, and I'm wondering. I have developed the theory. Did Boimler call her a bitch, and she didn't like that because it's a dog?
You think he says bitch?
Yeah, I kind of do.
I tried to figure out what he was saying, and I couldn't make it up.
Did
Yeah,
they bleep bitch on TV?
Well, they wouldn't
But they
unless
would
it's
hear,
funny.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this was just my idea that if Boimler called her a bitch, she would get mad because I mean she likes swearing, but if you call her a dog when she's a cat, like it's like not good.
Funny.
I took it more the fact that she's a senior officer, right?
Yeah.
Like it's still not exactly acceptable the shit that she does, but no one's gonna fucking question her on it. But like to have a lieutenant junior grade come up and talk to a senior officer like that who you don't have a relationship with. I mean, on a Starfleet ship, like I wouldn't, fucking try to kill the dude, but like I'd maybe be like, you are out of place, Lieutenant. Like you are dismissed, motherfucker. Like
Fair
get
enough.
out now. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I
it's not like
swear
they
a
have a-
lot.
Yes.
I have a dirty mouth, but like if a student or like I don't know, a student would like start talking to me like I'm like, haha. I don't swear in front of student, but
Yeah,
And
but yeah, no,
It's not like they have a relationship either. So it's not like that would just come out of the blue. Right?
Yeah.
yeah. It seemed. I mean, I know, like we've just like he's decided to do everything that a bearded Boimler did, but like he like as Rutherford point out, he's in the Bear Pack, and it's not like he does a lot with his relationship with Shax. And Rutherford not learning his lesson and wanting to get into Billups water aerobics, I think. If Rutherford just asked, he would probably get in because
Literally. Yeah.
Rutherford is one of the only people we ever see Billups talking to, like about shit like the fact that his mom sent him a dragon. So like they're friends. It's just like they're not actually doing anything with it. So it's like the pad is almost like holding them back from things that are already available to them.
Yeah. 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 Eric.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like Boimler is going a little crazy dyeing all of his hair. Like that's a lot of dye. Me and Hawk had a conversation with Brittany earlier this week, and I totally forgot that Boimler dyes his hair. So not only is he dyeing his hair, he's dyeing his mustache, dyeing his little goatee thing, his chest hairs. He's just going a little crazy now. I do feel like Boimler would have gotten to the place where alternate Boimler like is at just like later. Like I feel like he would eventually get to that greatness. Like we've already seen him be a good officer, like especially with the bold Boimler stuff of last year and just adding on to that. But yeah, he does seem to have regressed quite a bit this year. Like he's way more neurotic and I don't know.
aren't we all?
Yeah, it's true.
Fair.
Did I get more neurotic as I got older? Yeah, probably.
You did.
All do.
You absolutely did.
I definitely did.
That being said, I thought the Ta'ana fight was hilarious. It killed me. And I like Boimler is a good enough person that he would just get in with these people. Like he's a good officer. Like he should. I feel like it's weird that Rutherford's just like go with the pad, and without him, he's always been like such a cheerleader for everyone. For Rutherford to be like, yeah, I think the pad's right, felt really weird to me.
Yeah. No, I agree too. Yeah, that was definitely like not on brand for Rutherford. Hawk, how about you?
All right. So, I mean, the commitment with Boymes and that following the pad and alternate Boymes example this year I mean, we're committed to it at this point in that because, each episode by episode, we've been watching that beard come in. So it's our fascination with seeing like how far that beard is actually going to come in before episode 10, if he still keeps it by that point. But yes, it is a little regressive. And it totally the pad itself is, the fact that he's taking lessons from it. There was this episode of Rick and Morty where Morty was following the direction of a death crystal he put into his forehead and that, because it would get him to the end that he wanted, right? To die in Jessica's arms. Mm-hmm. And Boimler with the pad feels a little bit like that. It's an unclear picture of a future that he wants. He just doesn't know how to get to it, in the right way. And the wrong lesson that he's learning here. Well, maybe he does learn it, but I don't know. The lesson here is that he's trying to force a casual relationship with Tavana and that enough to be invited to a book club, because it's just another check mark in that list of alternate Boimler that he can tick off. But again, he's Boimler. He goes about it completely the wrong way. Flip, Jesus.
Flip. Why would you want to be called Flip too? Like, Bucko is so much better.
Bearded Boimler is called Flip, and he got that nickname doing something embarrassing.
100%. Yep. 100%. Draft.
I really like that B plot. I really liked it, and I it's funny because one of my friends was telling me, I like the fact that I can tell you. That I can be petty with you because you're not self-righteous. And I'm not self-righteous. You know what? I would use that pad. I'm here for this. I understand why they're doing it. You're all like, oh, but Boimler is a good officer. Yeah, but that doesn't solve anything if he doesn't know it. If they don't reinforce and don't give him his chance and don't actually show him that he can grow and don't let him actually try things. Yeah, he's gonna think that he needs like two shortcuts. And you know what? My real question is, alternate Boimler most probably got a pad to become who he is. And is that pad from the Mirrorverse? Hence the beard.
Calvinverse.
Question mark.
Calvinverse. Like
So I'm here for it. And listen, you cannot be yourself all the time. Do not be yourself all the time. This is not a good advice. I mean, you have to be very privileged to be able to be yourself all the time. I code switch 17 times a minute because I have to. If I'm just myself in every setting, either I'm gonna get shot. At best, I'm gonna lose opportunity. I would love, for me at least, to be true that I can just be myself everywhere. Now I can mostly be myself everywhere because I'm older, I'm richer, I have a career, and I know where I am, and I'm settled. I don't know, but it's not true when you're like super young and you like trying to figure out like what you need to say, what you need to do. You cannot just be yourself. Like you have to adapt your speech to where you are, to who you. And we see this with Tiana. Like he's just like, and he gets almost killed because she's a senior officer. You need to speak to her in a way that reflects that you're respectful to her. You can't just talk to her like you're talking to your friend. Like, be yourself is such a dandy thing to do. Was super privileged, by the way.
That's true.
Dandy.
And I kind of get it. I also mimicked. Maybe it's because I'm some kind of spectrum, but I mimicked a lot of people to get what I wanted to get where I wanted to be and get the opportunity that I wanted to have. If I just I got rid of my I have a regional accent in French. I got rid of my regional accent because I didn't want people to identify me with a redneck part of the country. I changed the way what I wear depending on where I go, who I want to impress or what I want to get. You can't just be yourself all the time. That is not true.
It's a very good point and very accurate.
The person you are is the room you're standing in.
Yes. Yep. And as a Black woman, I have to. I don't have a choice. Yeah. A lot of us code switch all the time. and that's how being biracial is even like I code switch even more. I feel, but I mean, yeah, if they want to become a captain, if they want to become bridge crew, they have to, adapt to the situation they are. And if the pad is giving them some reassurance, it's because we talked about it. Like, they don't have somebody giving them that reassurance. And like, it's easy to be like, oh, you can just ask to Billups to get in there. Would you? Just like going like, yo, I want to be in your club.
No, I mean, I do think that Boymes could have read that information about the book club. And I think that if Boymes had literally just got into that room, especially with Tendi and Rutherford in there, and be like, hey, Dr. T, I'm a huge book nerd. Any chance I could join your book club? I think she would have given him a sarcastic answer, but I think she would have said yes. I really do.
I know, but it's you like being 40. I don't know how you're not 40, but it's like when you were 20, when you were 22.
Right.
When you were 22, would you go to your boss and be like, hey, I want to be part of your book club? Like, I would have died.
I would have. To be fair, I've always been a little bit too direct for my own good, so probably, but that's a bit of a fault of mine.
And there's a difference between like asking to be in a club and being invited into a club.
That is true.
That is true. Yeah.
I do have to say with Billups, you absolutely, because it's Billups. There's nobody in Billups's exercise program. He's this is why I would choose him to be my bridge buddy, because he is just like not social at all.
Yeah. Man, Draft brought up a good point about the pad.
My phone died, so I don't see the chat anymore. So if you come at me, wait a minute.
I think it's no different than Saru asking the computer in Discovery, show me Starfleet's a list of Starfleet's best captains, like who Starfleet believes to be their best captains, and like that list comes up, and Pike's on there. I don't think it's actually much different from that. When Saru is having his bit of a crisis. So I never thought about it that way until Draft talked about it. It's a really good point. I wanted to hate this B plot because I do agree that it is a regression for Boimler, and I may be changing my mind a bit that now after what Draft said. But how can you hate this when it's so goddamn funny? Like, it's just so good. Regression or not, it's just fucking hilarious. I like that Tendi is just like disgruntled about the whole thing. I love that Boimler, if it was going to happen to anybody, of course it would wind up with Boimler having a lightning bolt up his ass. It's just so good. And listen, at the end of the day, we could say this is regression, but all Boimler's been doing this entire season so far is succeeding at the end, getting what he wants. Right?
Get the sports almanac.
Yeah.
Get it.
I'm not going to say he's grabbing life by the balls because he's grabbing life by the pad, but it's working. It's working. He got the nickname. He got the book club. He got the respect of his peers during the AWOL thing. His ensigns look up to him. It's working. Whether it's the right way or the wrong way is up for historians to decide. Don't be a square. Let's very quickly talk about the C plot. Who else figured out very early that this was a Romeo and Juliet situation? MC.
Oh, absolutely. First of all, as soon as they got in there and they're like, there's, sphere or cube residue, I'm like, oh my God, that's cum.
No.
Yep.
As soon as they said like the sun disappeared, I was like,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was like there, as the sun disappeared, I'm like, oh, there's some sort of like sphere girl who's around. Yeah, it was very obvious. But I liked it. I think my favorite part was at the very end when their son shits.
Oh, he drops a little doo-doo.
And he's just like, what do I do? I've only been a dad for 5 minutes.
It was so good. Yeah. Eric.
Yeah. Once again, I figured it out really easily, like everyone else here, and that is probably my favorite part, the shit part. As a parent, you very much understand that the first time you're like,
God, you have to change a diaper too.
No.
Yeah. Yep.
Wipes? No, I don't understand. Yeah, it's very relatable. I love.
Why
it.
is it a triangle?
It's such a cute little baby too.
So cute.
Yeah.
But I love that's what changes. They're like, oh my god, it's adorable. We don't need to be at war anymore. Hawk.
I didn't know that's what it was. I thought they were doing the Lonely Among Us, and it turned out they were doing the Outrageous Hukana instead.
Yeah, giraffe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I see what they're doing. I think it's a fun, poke at Star Trek like tradition. But they also did already like an episode like that where she's brokering between like the moon people.
Yeah.
Remember that episode?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, like.
That's true.
I was not really involved in this whole thing. I was like, the fact that they are naked when they don't glow cracked me up. That's pretty much it.
What was it when Mariner said when they're working out? It's like, I can tell you work. I know you don't skip
Radius Day.
Radius Day.
It was a lot of very good lines. So there was a lot of lines where like I laughed. It was quite funny.
Fun.
Yeah.
Final thoughts on this one. Giraffe, don't go anywhere. It's your turn. We're going reverse order.
Listen, it's not a bad episode. I laughed at a lot of things. I just don't get why it's episode 6 of the final season. I think they're building to a lot of something at the end. And then in the end, we're going to be, I hope, fingers crossed, at the end, we're going to be, oh my God, I need to rewatch the whole season. Like, there's something we didn't see that we can't see because we don't know what they're doing. But I want to go back to the parallel universe thing. I want to go back to that. I want to know about this. And I'm very frustrated that we don't get more of this.
There's been no teases now for 2 straight episodes.
Well, there's the whole thing with like parallel Boimler, like because of the pad. So I suppose that maybe he's going to slowly realize that he's unethical and that's going to pose problem. And I don't know. I don't know where it's going. There's 4 episodes left. 4 episodes. 4 episodes. And I'm like... what is going on? So it would have been a great episode of season 3.
Yeah.
I have so much to do. I don't get a new character now. She's not bad. But yeah, it left me hungry. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
it does.
I want more.
I want next week's episode.
The title cracked me up. I think it's a good little like joke. And again, Women's for Adonis is like one of my favorite episodes of TOS because they have an ANA officer, ancient history and archaeology officer, and I was like, that's who I want to be.
I watched it right after I got done with Lower Decks this morning.
I mean, I don't want to end up with Apple or whatever, but like, So yeah, I really need to finish seeing this season to be maybe appreciating this episode. I hope more than what I'm appreciating now.
Yeah, Hawk.
Yeah, probably not the strongest episode, but definitely saved by the ending. It's weird that we're in episode 6 of the final season, and again, yes, no mention of the overarching plot, nothing else like that. Still solid enough. I enjoyed myself.
Nice, Eric.
I thought it was a cute episode. When Draft said this felt like it was it could fit in season 3, episode 6. That was the episode where they went to Deep Space Nine. Like if you put this in episode 6 there, like that was a good episode too. Like I don't like this on the scale of this season. It's going on the lower end, but I feel like whenever we've gone through these seasons, like 6 has been pretty high on it. Like the other one was.
It was last week.
Last year was when they went to the Ferengi homeworld.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So like this felt like this episode was here to introduce a new character that's probably going to be important for the last 2 episodes.
Yeah. We will find out.
It's giving Peanut Hamper episode, to be honest.
It is giving Peanut Hamper episode. Yeah. MC.
So I think that this is the curse of being a podcaster. This is a fine episode, but this is an episode that does not hold up to scrutiny at all because we would have. I mean, I think we all said at the beginning, it's like, this is fine. But as we pick it apart, then it makes it sound like we don't like the episode. But it's like, this is funny. It's just fine.
Definitely like the episode. Just don't
Yeah.
care about the episode.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
That's exactly what it is. It's like I have no problem watching this episode. I've watched it twice now, and I liked it both times. But actually, just examining this episode is not really my favorite thing to do. Though I do think I'm going to do an Ollie cosplay at some point because I really want to make the Laurel.
Yeah. Fair.
It's a good episode if there are 24 episodes.
Yeah, that's a great point
Yeah.
too.
Exactly.
I mean, it's an episode that I won't skip. Like, it's
No,
still
exactly.
fun.
No, I
I'll never
liked
skip
it.
any episode
Yeah,
of Lower
exactly.
I think we
Yeah.
just
Skip
we
the
just
peanut hamper one.
we just
Okay, damn it.
we
that
just
one.
hangry. Like we want big,
Pad Thai.
incredible episodes because there's only 4 left, and I'm like, give me incredible stuff that I want to rewatch 12,000 times.
I think it's important for us to remember too that we said at the beginning of the season that we were going to be a lot harsher on the season than probably we normally would be because season 4 is so fucking special to us.
Yeah.
So I think that also factors into it a little bit. Very quickly, did anybody pick up any Easter eggs? Because there's one big one in this episode.
Yeah,
The warp
there's
chair.
The wharf chair. What else?
Ronald B. Moore.
That's the one I was
Yes, that's
Ronald
the-
B.
that's
Very
the one.
Ronald B. Moore of you. Yeah.
I actually did not realize that the comedian in that episode had a name until now.
That's really funny.
I just always called him Joe Piscopo.
Oh man. I think that was it, but I thought Ronald B. Moore deserved a shout out. So
Definitely.
okay. Hawk, I hope you're pulling up those numbers because we are getting to the subspace to pull and mailbag.
Warp me.
And we asked Threadfleet what they thought of Gods and Angles, and this is what they had to say, Hawk.
Alrighty, so final poll results. 67% said came full circle. 33% said a sphere of possibilities. 0 voted for a little obtuse, and 0% said what the angle.
Okay. All right.
Blue Sky, are you getting that?
Blue Sky needs a poll option badly.
Yeah.
I'm going to be sending you a link to something about that.
Oh, cool. Okay, sounds good. All right. So, Hawk, that means we're on draft. Could you take Simon's mailbag, please?
Simon wrote, missed opportunity here. Replace Ollie with Morn. I know exactly what's following. And get Woo Morns for Adonais. And also get some extra fun Morn lore out of it since he becomes a demigod. On first watch, this episode was pretty face value with the Romeo and Juliet thing telegraphed. But otherwise, it reminded me of some classic TOS. Obviously, Who Mourns for Adonais, but also those fun diametrically opposed
Yes.
societies we get like in Let That Be Your Last Battlefield. Seems like an episode to again notch the progression of Mariner and Buttbold Boimler. Why is it so hard to read? Simon, come on.
I didn't give you that on purpose this week either. I will take Mars's, who wrote, what I love about Lower Decks is how well they lean into everything Trek. All the stuff Ollie piled on the lift. Mariner wanting to help a flailing ensign, the ridiculous wars of cubes and spheres who get busy and make a whatever shape that was. I appreciated seeing people wearing a hijab and a Sikh turban, but big ups for that. Yeah, I noticed that immediately. Lower Decks has been doing that since season 1. It's awesome. As well as Ollie being curvy as fuck. Great character design. She's got some ass. Yes. Boimler getting hypoed and saying, oh, medicine. And how Jack Quaid delivers the passing outline was so hilarious to me, as well as Dr. Ta'ana going apeshit on him. The floppy gets somehow hard and shattering lightning bolts were a great touch. The Greek myth interrogation from Mariner while Ollie is in the brig is perfection for me. Ollie as in Olympus, though, cute. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize that until now.
I didn't until I read the mailbag. I was trying to think, Ollie,
Mars.
yeah. Mars is always on point.
No, good job.
Yep. MC, can you take Troubles, please?
Trouble wrote, well, they had some really pretty shots of the Cerritos, but aside from that and a few chuckles here and there, I didn't really get this episode's purpose. Learning the reason why Boimler decided to grow the beard was probably the only thing that I felt made sense in the storyline they've been creating this season. Seeing him get high AF on hypo sprays while trying to impress a higher ranking officer was pretty much a typical Boimler mood, and having the full circle moment in the brig was a nice way to connect a new character into the storyline, but she was not the best one-shot character we've seen before.
Nice. Just real quick, Gene in the chat said Jack Quaid and Gabriel Ruiz also played the Square and Sphere who had the baby. I recognize Gabriel Ruiz's voice. I didn't recognize Jack's. That's hilarious. Nice. Eric, you take us home with Jedi Cats, please.
Jedi Cat wrote, it was an average episode this week, but even average Lower Decks episodes make me laugh. I thought the B storyline was funnier. The way Dr. Tahana went off on Boimler was hilarious, as was the end with Boims and Rutherford's foolhardy resolve to follow the path of their alternative selves. Kind of cool that Apollo and Carolyn Palmer's child was made on-screen canon, and Ollie has interesting potential as a character. Too bad we'll never see if she joins the main Lower Decks group in season 6. Thanks, Paramount.
If she is Apollo's daughter, like, how old is she?
Well, she's a demigod. She could, like,
yeah,
her...
Did they say daughter or granddaughter?
Granddaughter
she's
of
the
Zeus,
granddaughter of Zeus.
which would make her the daughter of Apollo.
Apollo and Caroline Palmas in Women's for the Night.
Are we assuming they
200
fucked?
years ago?
They absolutely did, and actually,
She's pregnant
in the episode. Yeah,
episode.
she's pregnant in the episode.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah. They don't say it in the episode itself, but I want to say it was in a novelization of it.
Oh.
I mean, it's implied in the episode, no?
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
It's what Greek gods do.
Yeah.
I think it was implied in the episode. Like, I never read the novel, and I was like,
Well,
anyway.
I know they do say it outright in a novelization, and I believe in one of the book series that you actually see one of their descendants.
All right. Well, I mean, it's not a bad way to look at it, so I'll accept that. It works. Yeah. That's it, folks. We have the curse of saying, this is going to be a really short episode this week as we almost go on 2 hours. No one.
Well, that's what happens when we have to talk about unification.
And all of us were here. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. It was fun, though. So I am going to say goodbye. I hope to all of those in the States who celebrate a happy Thanksgiving. I will not see you next week, but these guys will be in your very good hands. So treat them well. That's it. We will see you next week for 507. Good Lord. I'm getting sad.
Oh, my God.
I know. For MC, for Hawk, for Eric, for Giraffe, I am Julian. Live long and prosper. Majram, sarcastic Vulcan salute, and good night.
Thanks for beaming into our podcast today. If you want to keep the hailing frequencies open, you can subscribe on Apple and Google Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. Like what you hear? Put in a good word with Starfleet and leave us a 5-star review.